Hello everybody. Today's lecture is about Like as a Ship by Edmund Spenser. Like as a ship that through the ocean wide, by conduct of some star doth make her way, when as a storm hath dimmed her trusty guide, out of her course doth wander far astray. So I whose star that want with her bright ray me to direct, with clouds is overcast. The wander now in darkness and dismay, through hidden perils round about me passed. Yet hope I will, that when this storm is past, my Helice, the loud star of my life, will shine again and look on me at last with lovely light to clear my cloudy grief. Till then I wander careful, comfortless, in secret sorrow and sad pensiveness. Okay, let us explain or elucidate some notes about this poem. The poet, Edmund Spenser. The speaker in this poem is the poet Spenser himself. The poet, first of all, wants to compare himself in life with the ship in the wide ocean. When Spenser said, like as a ship, means the poet addresses the ship as if it was or were the body of a man, means the body of the poet himself. The body of the poet is like the body of the ship through it is moving, sailing in the wide ocean. By conduct of some star, the ship in the ocean wide is moving by guiding some star to know her way. Actually, the ship can recognize, distinguish her way through it is sailing in the ocean wide or in the sea according to some star. To understand, to recognize, to distinguish, to differentiate her trusty way. But sometimes the ship through it is moving, sailing, has some dangerous, like storm, for example. As I told you, the ship is moving by guiding some star to know, to recognize her way. And luckily, unfortunately, the weather became so dark, so the ship lost her way because of the storm. The storm is the first handicap, the first obstacle can make the ship lost her way. The sky is full of darkness, storms, and clouds. The storm will make the ship lost her way, out of her course. And then the poet himself has a star in his life that can recognize, can differentiate her bright ray, refers to his beloved. His star has a bright ray, a bright beam in his life, but the cloudness of his problems or of his direction in his life, his personal life, is the same a problem or the trouble in his life like that in the ship through it is moving in the wide ocean. So the sky is full of storms and clouds. The ship cannot see her way in the ocean. So the poet Edmund Spenser actually wants to compare his problems which face him in life like the storms and clouds. They are actually dangerous, which the ship faces in the ocean. So we can call them, for example, hidden perils, according to Edmund Spenser in his sonnet. This ship has hidden perils, invisible, dangerous, through it is moving, sailing in the ocean. And then the poet in stanza number 3, he said, "Yet hope I will that when this storm is past," when the storm is gone, the poet will have, for example, hope in his life. So the poet is hopeful, optimistic, because hope will come to him one day when this storm is gone or finishes. So the poet refers to his hope as his Helice when he said, "My Helice," which refers to the loud star of my life that will shine again with a lovely light to remove, to cancel his sadness, sorrow. But the Spenser is careful and restless. Why? The poet here actually wants to get his lovely light life, because he wants all his problems, misfortunes will be clear. When the storm is gone, clouds will remove from the sky. He wants to be his life shine. He wants his a problem will be shining, will be brilliant, like that in the ocean, through it is moving or through it is sailing in the wide ocean. Why? Because of the poet's mood that is full of secret sorrow and sad muse. Actually, the poet Edmund Spenser is the father of imagery at that time. What kind of imagery does the poet Edmund Spenser use in his sonnet? He uses, for example, we can say, reflective imagery. Reflective imagery is a kind of imagery used by Spenser to reflect his own personal problems in a poem. The poet uses a reflective imagery in his poem that tells us that the ship is the poet himself in life. The star is the hope. So first of all, the ship is the poet himself in life. As I told you before, the poet wants to compare between the body of the ship is like the body of the poet in life. And then, according to his reflective imagery, the star is the hope that the poet wishes to get. The star will be as a guide to that ship through it is moving or sailing in the wide ocean. The clouds and the storm, both of them are like the problems of life which face the poet himself. All these reflective images revolve in the wide ocean. Wide ocean refers to life. So Spenser actually tries to show that there are two contrastive feelings of happiness and sadness, because he is sometimes happy, hopeful, optimistic, and sometimes he is sad, gloomy, melancholy. Why? Because his feelings express the psychological statements of the speaker, the poet himself, inside his sonnet. That is a brief introduction or summary for this poem. Thanks so much for your listening, my students.